Welcome to EDU World Space.
Here we use the orbit program to input some parameters for Mars orbit and then make a plot of the output of the computer program. So some things about the orbit of Mars is it has a semi-major axis of 1.5237. The eccentricity is quite high in terms of the planets. Most of the planets have eccentricities very close to zero. The period is about 1.88 year. And what is showing here are elliptical data points, the data points coming from the program, whereas the red is my attempt in Excel to fit the data to a circle. And the way I did that is, of course, plot or create columns of x and y using a circle formula. X equals a cosine theta minus some sort of center point, and the y equals a sine theta minus some central data point. And what you notice is that if you thought that maybe there was some noise in the data, that perhaps the circular fit does quite well. So the circle fits quite well. What's kind of disturbing, though, is that there are patterns to the offset, if you will. There are certain places where the data points fall inside the circle and outside the circle, and there could be a pattern in the error. Okay. The other thing that's very noticeable is that the circle is noticeably off-center. So let me point out that the sun is a physical object that occupies that 0 point. So X marks the sun. And so you can see from, especially, it was most noticeable in the X axis, the major axis, that the circle could not be centered. In fact, the X center was shifted over by minus 0.13, roughly, according to the way I fit it. The fit on the radius, however, was fairly close to the actual semi-major axis, according to I. But the most noticeable thing was the position of the center of the circle is not at the sun. So this kind of goes along with what Ptolemy was doing with his modeling. Is he continued to put planets in circular orbits about the sun. He modeled their non-uniformity of motion with epicycles, but he recognized that putting the sun at the center was not perfect. So there was the idea of the equant, and this would have been noticeable to Kepler as well. But the idea that you don't have a circle, that there's an ellipse where the sun would naturally occur off center, that was quite an insight